Hey there, I'm Chloe. I'm 28, and let me tell you, life's been a roller coaster lately. 3 weeks ago, I was on cloud 9, getting ready for my engagement to Tom. We've been together for 4 years, and he's the best thing that's ever happened to me. But then, out of nowhere, my mom called and turned my world upside down. I was in the middle of picking out centerpieces when my phone buzzed. Seeing Mom's name on the screen, I answered with a cheerful, "Hey, Mom, what's up?" Her voice was tight when she said, "Chloe, you need to cancel your engagement party. Your sister just got a promotion at work, and we're celebrating on the same day as your engagement party. You'll have to reschedule." I couldn't believe what I was hearing. "Mom, I've been planning this for months. I can't just cancel it because Kira got a promotion. Why can't she have her party another day?" "Don't be selfish, Chloe," Mom snapped. "This is important for Kira. All the relatives will be at her party, so there's no point in you having yours." My blood was boiling. "No, Mom. I'm not canceling my engagement party. Kira can have her celebration another day." "How dare you?" Mom's voice rose to a shriek. "After everything we've done for you." I hung up. My hands were shaking as I set the phone down. I couldn't deal with this right now. As I sat there, staring at the half-finished centerpiece, memories started flooding back. All those times when Kira, my younger sister by 3 years, got preferential treatment. All those moments when I felt invisible in my own family. I remember when I was 16, and my parents completely forgot my birthday. It was only when Grandma called to wish me happy birthday that they remembered. They scrambled to get a store-bought cake and a gift card, but the damage was done. I couldn't help comparing it to Kira's 13th birthday just a few months earlier, a 3-day extravaganza with more guests than I could count and a cake that looked like it belonged in a fancy bakery window. My phone buzzed again. It was Tom. "Hey, babe," his warm voice came through. "How's the planning going?" I took a deep breath. "Tom, you won't believe what just happened." I spilled everything to him, my voice cracking as I recounted the conversation with my mom. "Wow," Tom said when I finished. That's messed up, Chloe. What are you going to do?" "I'm not canceling our engagement party," I said firmly. "I'm tired of always being pushed aside for Kira. This is our moment, Tom. I won't let them take it away from us." "I'm with you, 100%, Tom assured me. "Whatever you decide to do, I've got your back." I spent the next few days in a daze, trying to focus on my engagement preparations while ignoring the constant buzzing of my phone. Mom kept calling, but I couldn't bring myself to answer. I knew she'd just tried to guilt me into canceling again. It was a Tuesday afternoon when I decided to visit my Aunt Marge to personally invite her to my engagement party once again. Aunt Marge opened the door before I could even knock. "Chloe, dear." She pulled me into a tight hug that smelled of lavender and baked cookies. "Oh, I'm so glad you did. I've been meaning to call you, you know. Such a shame about the engagement, but these things happen, don't they?" I froze. "What?" Aunt Marge patted my arm sympathetically. "Your mother told us all about it, dear. How you and Tom had that awful fight and called everything off. Don't you worry, though. There's plenty of fish in the sea." My head was spinning. "Aunt Marge, what are you talking about? Tom and I didn't break up. We're still engaged." Now it was her turn to look confused. "But, your mother called everyone. She said the engagement was off and that we should all come to Kira's promotion party instead." I felt like I'd been punched in the gut. "She what?" Aunt Marge must have seen the shock on my face, because her expression quickly changed from confusion to concern. "Oh, dear. Chloe, what's going on?" I sank into her floral print couch, my legs suddenly feeling weak. "Aunt Marge, the engagement isn't off. Mom wanted me to cancel it because of Kira's party, but I refused. I can't believe she told everyone it was cancelled." Aunt Marge's face hardened in a way I'd never seen before. Now you listen to me, Chloe. You're not going to let them ruin this for you. We're going to fix this. She got up and grabbed her address book. Start with the email. I'll help you draft it. Then we'll hit the phones. Between the two of us, we'll set everyone straight. For the next few hours, Aunt Marge and I worked tirelessly. We sent out emails, made phone calls, and even recorded a video message for the tech-savvy cousins. My voice grew hoarse from repeating the same explanation over and over. There's been a misunderstanding. Tom and I are still engaged. The party is still on. We really hope you can make it. By the time we finished, it was late into the night. Aunt Marge insisted I stay over, and I was too exhausted to argue. As I lay in the guest bed, staring at the ceiling, I couldn't help but think about how things had come to this. My own mother, lying to the whole family just to sabotage my engagement. It was a new low, even for her. The day of my engagement party arrived, and I woke up with a knot in my stomach. Despite all our efforts to correct my mother's lie, I had no idea how many people would actually show up. As I got dressed, my hands shook so badly I could barely fasten my necklace. The drive to the venue felt like it took forever. When Tom and I finally arrived, I hesitated before getting out of the car. What if no one's there, Tom? He leaned over and kissed my cheek. Then it'll be you and me, celebrating our love. And that's all that matters. His words gave me the courage to step out. We walked hand in hand towards the entrance. I could hear my heart pounding in my ears as we approached the doors. As they swung open, I held my breath. To my immense relief and joy, the hall was full of smiling faces. Almost all of our relatives had come, having seen through my mother's deception. The absence of my parents and Kira was noticeable, but it felt more like a relief than a disappointment. Aunt Marge rushed over, enveloping me in a hug. We wouldn't miss this for the world, dear, she whispered. Tom's parents were beaming, chatting animatedly with my cousins. Even my grandmother was there, looking elegant in her favorite pearls. As the evening progressed, I found myself relaxing and genuinely enjoying the celebration. The room was filled with laughter and love. At one point, my grandmother even cracked a slightly inappropriate joke, causing an eruption of applause and laughter. It was everything I had hoped for and more. The party was winding down when my phone buzzed. It was a text from Kira. Hope you're happy. You've ruined everything. I stared at the message for a moment, then deleted it without responding. I wasn't going to let her negativity taint this perfect evening. The next morning, I was jolted awake by my phone ringing. It was my mother. Part of me wanted to ignore it, but I knew I had to face this sooner or later. Hello? I answered, bracing myself. You ungrateful, nasty girl. My mother's shrill voice pierced through the phone. How dare you? I held the phone away from my ear as she ranted about how I had humiliated Kira. Apparently, only 3 distant, gossipy aunts had shown up to her promotion party. According to my mother, Kira had been in tears, devastated by the poor turnout. When she finally paused for breath, I spoke calmly. Mom, I'm sorry you're disappointed, but I've been planning my engagement for months. Kira's party was arranged last minute, and she knew it conflicted with mine. Before I could say anything else, she hung up on me. I sat there, staring at my phone, feeling a mix of emotions. Part of me felt guilty, but a larger part felt liberated. For once, I had stood my ground, and it felt good. A few moments later, my phone pinged with a text from Kira. I'll make you pay for this humiliation. Just you wait. I sighed, hoping it was just empty words born from disappointment. But knowing Kira, I couldn't be sure. 2 weeks flew by in a whirlwind of wedding planning and blissful engagement happiness. Tom and I were on cloud 9, excitedly discussing venue options and color schemes. For a moment, I almost forgot about the family drama that had overshadowed our engagement party. But reality came crashing back one sunny afternoon when Tom's parents showed up at our apartment unannounced. The worried looks on their faces made my stomach drop. Chloe, Tom, we need to talk, Tom's father said gravely as we settled in the living room. Tom's mother reached out and patted my hand. Sweetie, we've been hearing, well, there's been talk that you've been unfaithful to Tom. The words hit me like a punch to the gut. What? That's ridiculous. I would never. We know, dear, Tom's mother quickly interjected. We've known you for years. We don't believe it for a second. Tom was on his feet, his face flushed with anger. Who's spreading these lies? I didn't need to guess. It's Kira, isn't it? My sister? Tom's parents nodded solemnly. We thought as much, his father said. We wanted to come to you directly rather than let these rumors fester. As they explained what they'd heard, outlandish stories of me supposedly cheating on Tom with multiple partners, I felt a mixture of rage and despair. Kira had taken her vendetta to a whole new level. After reassuring Tom's parents and seeing them out, I collapsed onto the couch, my head in my hands. I can't believe she'd stoop this low, I muttered. Tom sat beside me, pulling me into a comforting embrace. We'll get through this, Chloe. Nobody who really knows you will believe these lies. I wanted to believe him, but a nagging fear persisted. How far would Kira go? And how much damage could she do before we shut this down? As if on cue, my phone rang. It was my grandmother. Chloe, darling, her warm voice came through the speaker. I've been hearing about this nonsense with your sister. I was hoping you could clear things up for me. I took a deep breath and explained everything, the engagement party drama, Kira's threats, and now these vicious rumors. By the end, I was fighting back tears. Oh, my sweet girl, Grandma said softly. I had no idea things had gotten so bad between you two. You know, I think it's time we tried to mend these fences. Family shouldn't be at war like this. I bit my lip, conflicted. Part of me wanted to write off Kira and my parents entirely, but I knew how much family meant to my grandmother. I don't know, Grandma. After everything they've done. Just think about it, she urged. Maybe we could arrange a family dinner. Clear the air. To appease her, I agreed to consider it. But as I hung up, I couldn't shake the feeling that any attempt at reconciliation would be futile. After days of internal struggle and countless conversations with Tom, I decided to take my grandmother's advice. With a heart full of trepidation, I made my way to my parents' house. Taking a deep breath, I rang the doorbell, my pulse racing. Mom answered, her face a mask of surprise and suspicion. What are you doing here? Hi, Mom, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. I was hoping we could talk. All of us. She hesitated for a moment before reluctantly stepping aside to let me in. Dad and Kira were in the living room, their expressions mirroring Mom's. Look, I began, my hands slightly shaking. I know things have been difficult lately. But I want to try and make things right. Kira scoffed, but I pressed on. I had an idea. Kira, your promotion is a big deal, and it deserves to be celebrated properly. So, I'd like to throw you another party, a real celebration with all the trimmings. I'll even help organize it. What do you say? For a moment, there was silence. Then, Kira's face contorted with fury. Are you kidding me? She spat. I don't need your handouts, Chloe. You think you can just waltz in here and play the bigger person? Kira, I'm just trying to. No, she cut me off. You don't get it, do you? I wanted my party on your engagement day for a reason. I wanted the guests to come to me, not you. Her words hit me like a slap. I turned to my parents, hoping for some support, but their faces were hard and unyielding. Kira's right, Mom said coldly. You've always been so selfish, Chloe. Always thinking about yourself. I stood there, stunned by their united front against me. It was like I was that overlooked child again, always playing second fiddle to Kira's wants and needs. Without another word, I turned and left, the sound of Kira's angry muttering following me out the door. Discouraged but not surprised, I went to my grandmother's house. She greeted me with a warm hug and a hopeful smile. "How did it go, dear?" she asked, ushering me inside. Instead of explaining, I pulled out my phone. "I think it's better if you hear it yourself." I had made the last-minute decision to record the conversation, a part of me knowing it might come to this. As I pressed play, the bitter words filled the room once again. As the recording played, I watched my grandmother's expression change. The hope in her eyes dimmed, replaced by a growing look of disappointment and sadness. When it ended, she sat in silence for a moment, then reached out and took my hand. "Oh, Chloe," she said, her voice thick with emotion. "I'm so sorry. I had no idea it was this bad. I owe you an apology. Can you forgive me?" "Of course," I said, feeling a wave of relief wash over me. At least someone in my family could see the truth. The next morning, I woke up to a barrage of angry text messages from my parents. Confused and still half asleep, I scrolled through them, my heart sinking with each word. "How dare you record us? I can't believe you'd stoop so low. You've always been a snitch, Chloe." It didn't take long to piece together what had happened. I called Grandma, and she confirmed my suspicions. She'd confronted my parents about the recording, unable to keep silent after hearing their cruel words. "I'm sorry, dear," Grandma said, her voice heavy with regret. "I just couldn't stand by and let them treat you like that. I told them their favoritism was unacceptable and that their bullying of you had gone too far." "Thanks for standing up for me, Grandma," I said, trying to keep my voice steady. "But I think this might be the last straw." As I hung up, I made a decision. It was time to distance myself from my toxic family. No more olive branches, no more attempts at reconciliation. I needed to protect myself and my future with Tom. Little did I know, this was just the beginning of a new wave of attacks. Over the next few weeks, Kira's vindictiveness reached new heights. It started with whispers at work. Colleagues began giving me strange looks, and I overheard hushed conversations that stopped abruptly when I approached. Finally, my friend and coworker, Sarah, pulled me aside. "Chloe, I don't know how to say this, but there are rumors going around that you have a drinking problem. People are saying they've seen you drunk at work." I was floored. "What? That's ridiculous. I barely drink at all, let alone at work." Sarah nodded sympathetically. "I know, that's why I wanted to tell you. I think someone's trying to sabotage you." I knew exactly who that someone was. But Kira didn't stop there. My social media accounts were flooded with anonymous, abusive messages. Comments calling me a cheater, a liar, a horrible person. I spent hours blocking accounts and deleting comments, but they kept coming. The final straw came when Tom received a message from an unknown number. He showed it to me, his face a mix of anger and concern. "Thought you should know the truth about your fiancé," the message read, followed by a long list of fabricated stories about my supposed infidelities. "It's Kira, isn't it?" Tom asked, his jaw clenched. I nodded, feeling a wave of exhaustion wash over me. She's really outdone herself this time. As I lay in bed that night, unable to sleep, I couldn't help but wonder how we'd gotten here. How had my relationship with my sister deteriorated to this point? And more importantly, how were we going to put an end to this nightmare? As the weeks passed, I tried my best to focus on my work and wedding planning, pushing thoughts of Kira and her vindictive campaign to the back of my mind. Then, out of the blue, I received a call from an old family friend who worked at Kira's company. "Chloe, I thought you should know," she said, her voice low as if she was sharing a secret. "There's been some drama at the office involving your sister." I held my breath, unsure whether to brace for more bad news or allow myself to hope. "Kira's been, well, she's been acting erratically. Her work's been suffering, and people have noticed. She received an official reprimand from her superiors, and, Chloe, she's been demoted." The irony wasn't lost on me. The very promotion that had sparked this whole ordeal was now gone, undone by Kira's own obsessive behavior. "Thank you for letting me know," I said, my mind reeling. After hanging up, I sat in silence for a long while, processing the news. Part of me wanted to feel triumphant, but mostly I just felt a profound sense of relief. Maybe now, finally, this nightmare would end. With renewed energy, we threw ourselves into wedding planning. We found a beautiful venue, a rustic barn set against rolling hills that perfectly captured the warm, intimate feeling we wanted for our big day. Choosing our wedding party was a joy. My best friend Sarah, who had stood by me through all the workplace drama, was an easy choice for maid of honor. Tom's brother would be his best man, and we rounded out the party with friends who had supported us through thick and thin. As we sat down to write out invitations, I felt a pang as I realized I'd be leaving out some names. My parents, Kira. It felt strange, almost wrong, not to include them. But as I thought back on the past few months, the lies, the sabotage, the constant stress, I knew it was the right decision. Instead, we filled our guest list with people who had truly been there for us: my grandmother, who had finally seen the truth, Aunt Marge, who had helped save our engagement party, colleagues who had stood by me despite the rumors, friends who had offered shoulders to cry on and ears to listen. As I sealed the last invitation, I felt a weight lift off my shoulders. This wedding wasn't just a celebration of our love, it was a new beginning, a chance to surround ourselves with genuine love and support. The day of our wedding finally arrived, and despite all the drama leading up to it, I woke up feeling nothing but excitement and joy. The venue looked perfect, with wildflowers decorating every surface and soft fairy lights twinkling everywhere. As I slipped into my wedding dress, surrounded by my bridesmaids, I felt a sense of peace wash over me. The ceremony was everything we'd dreamed of: intimate, heartfelt, and filled with love. As Tom and I exchanged vows, I looked out at the faces of our guests, all people who truly cared for us and had supported us through thick and thin. My grandmother sat in the front row, tears of joy streaming down her face. However, our perfect day wasn't without its drama. Just as we were about to cut the cake at the reception, there was a commotion near the entrance. I saw the security guards we'd hired wrestling someone to the ground, and my heart sank as I recognized the struggling figure. Kira. Tom squeezed my hand as we watched the guards escort my sister away. One of them approached us, looking apologetic. "I'm sorry to disturb you, but we caught this woman trying to sneak in," he explained. "She had a can of spray paint with her. We think she was planning to, well." I closed my eyes, feeling a mixture of anger and sadness wash over me. Even on my wedding day, Kira couldn't let go of her vendetta. "Do you want us to call the police?" the guard asked. For a moment, I was tempted. After everything Kira had put us through, it would be so easy to press charges, to finally make her face consequences for her actions. But as I looked around at our beautiful wedding, at Tom's concerned face, at all our loved ones watching anxiously, I made a decision. "No," I said finally. "No police. Just, make sure she leaves the premises." That evening, after the last guest had left and Tom and I were finally alone, I composed a message on my phone. I sent it to my parents and Kira. "I hope you understand now that I'm serious about cutting ties. If anything like this ever happens again, I won't hesitate to go to the police and press charges for harassment, emotional abuse, and defamation. Please respect my wishes and leave me and my new family alone." I hit send, then turned off my phone. As Tom held me close, I felt like I could finally breathe freely. The weeks and months that followed were blissfully quiet. True to my word, I heard nothing from my parents or Kira. It was strange at first, like a phantom limb, but as time passed, I found myself relaxing into my new life. My relationships with the family members who had stood by me grew stronger. Sunday dinners at Grandma's became a cherished tradition, filled with laughter and love. Aunt Marge became like a second mother to me, always ready with advice or just a listening ear. One sunny afternoon, about a year after our wedding, Tom and I were having a picnic in the park when he asked, "Do you ever regret cutting ties with your parents and Kira?" I thought about it for a moment, watching a family play frisbee nearby. "Sometimes I'm sad about what could have been," I admitted. But no, I don't regret it. We've built a beautiful life, surrounded by people who truly care about us. That's what family should be. I didn't know what the future held, but I knew one thing for certain: whatever came our way, we'd face it together, surrounded by the family we'd chosen. And that was more than enough.